So over the past several weeks, we've talked about several different interesting topics. Today we're going to talk about something a little more serious though. All of us here either know somebody or may ourselves have suffered from some form of disease or chronic illness or some other serious condition. And a lot of these could potentially be treated or cured by stem cells. Around the world right now, researchers are doing work with stem cells to treat a whole host of different conditions, some of which could be halted, reversed, or completely cured. Here in America, a lot of our stem cell researchers find their efforts stymied by a lack of state and federal funding. And a lot of this is because the public is very split on the topic of stem cells. Some based on actual fact, some based on complete misconceptions. So today we're going to talk about the issue of stem cells, what the possibilities are from stem cells, dispel a few of the myths, and then we're going to talk about what you all can do to help further our researchers along towards cures. So in America right now, every day people suffer from different conditions that could be treated with stem cells. Some are killers, like cancer, kidney disease, Alzheimer's. Others, they may not be fatal, but they drastically change people's lives. Deafness, blindness, autism, and even things like spinal cord injuries. People that suffer from these things could be treated and given a huge boost in their quality of life from stem cells. And a lot of this research is very much based on the funding. They can only go so far with the money that they get. So, the science behind stem cells seems complex, but at its base it's really not. So what are stem cells? They're essentially immature cells. The Mayo Clinic calls them our body's raw materials. So if all of our adult cells that make our organs now could be considered like bricks, stem cells are the mud and the sand and the water that go into making those bricks. So a lot of our researchers now, some of the problems they're facing with funding is because of the myths and misconceptions about stem cells. The biggest one of those is that all stem cells are embryonic stem cells, meaning that they come from actual viable human embryos. That is one way that stem cells can be made, but it's not the only one. It's not even the most common one anymore. In fact, a professor, I hope I'm going to get this name right, Shinya Yamanaka from Japan, has actually figured out a way to take basic skin cells, adult skin cells, and revert them back to embryonic stem cells. So no embryo has to be damaged. He actually won a Nobel Prize in 2012 for that discovery. The New York Times published an interview with him where he describes his process and how it can go to help. They published this in March, on the 15th of this year, March 15th of this year. It's very interesting reading. Man is brilliant, honestly. So once the researchers have the stem cells that they need, next they go to work. They start with lab testing, then eventually animal testing, but they have to do human trials before they can actually figure out what it can do for humans. This is where a lot of these researchers get stalled out, especially here in America. I'm not going to tell you that there's no funding for stem cells from federal or state governments, because there is. Like in 2016, the National Institute of Health actually provided $1.495 billion for stem cell research. The problem with that is that 646 million of it, almost half, was for non-embryonic, non-human research. In fact, of that 1.495 billion, only 172 million, so about 12%, was slated to actually be able to be used for embryonic human stem cell research. Very small drop in the bucket, nowhere near enough. So these amazing researchers need help to try and get this funding. They already get a lot of help from adamant special interest groups and lobbyists that are always bending the ear of our government officials for that and many other things. But those interest groups and lobbyists can't do it all. They also need to hear from us, the people. We need to tell our government that we want stem cell therapies advanced. So in America, we all have the constitutional right to petition our government. You can create a petition and circulate it yourself. Try and get the signatures that you need to get an initiative on the ballot. Or it's a good possibility that there's already a petition circulating in your area. If it is, read it very thoroughly, and if you like what you see, sign it. Tell our government what we want. Now, if you can't sign petitions, like we as state employees, we're not allowed to sign petitions, we can still contact our representatives. Tweet them, email them, even go old school. Call their offices, send them a letter. Stop into their offices in person. Tell them what we need. Tell them we need funding freed up for stem cells. So now you have an awareness of what stem cells are, how they can help, and what we need to advance the stem cell research. Now it's time for you all to do your part. Talk to your legislators. Tell them what you want. Tell them that they need to free up this funding. It can help us all live fuller, healthier lives. But we need their help to do it. Petition them if you can. Call them if you can't. But now it's your turn and my turn. So now it's time for everybody to get out there, do what you can, make a difference. Let's push stem cells across the finish line. Other countries are surpassing us in this research. We can't have that happen. Let's do what we can. Get out there, make a difference,